Okay, so I got the PST mounted up on my 308 gasser just in a pepper mount because that's the only spare mount I had laying around. So I did like a side by side. It's really dreary. It's starting to get to the end of the day. It's 4:30 Eastern time, so we're really like, you know, I figured this would give it a good representation of how colors would pop and how it would how the resolution and everything was, how what kind of brightness could you expect out of them. And basically the SWFA wasn't, I mean, it's good, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's definitely, to my eyes, and I didn't put it up on a chart or anything, but it's pretty easy to tell to my eyes that the glass quality isn't as high in it as the Weaver or the Vortex, surprisingly. The Vortex was pretty good. I mean, the Weaver still, to me, the resolution, like putting it on like the bark of a poplar tree at 200, about 200 yards. You could see all the veins and everything, and it did pretty well. I mean, I think the glass is really good in it, especially for the price. The PST, you could definitely see a difference. It wasn't as good, and that could be the little bit of difference in the objective diameter, the light gathering ability. But really, the SWFA, I think, has a 42 millimeter objective, Japanese glass. And it just flat wasn't as good on any, to my eyes, this is just my opinion, in any of these, or in any sense between these three scopes. And I think it's a pretty, it's a pretty level playing field. I mean, yeah, you got a 3-9 in the SWFA, and the other ones are 10 powers, but really, I think that the glass just wasn't as good. Now, like I said, the Weaver resolved better to my eyes. Detail popped out a lot better, or well, not even a lot better, a little bit better. But the PST color just was like, it really brought the color out. So you got a couple differences. And then I started like looking at it and really like playing around with the magnification ring and the fast focus. Well, the fast focus on the PST, like when you back it out, you can give it a wiggle, and the reticle of course moves, but it's got a little bit of wiggle to it, a little bit more than I'm willing to, a little bit more than what I'm willing to say is okay, I guess. And then the magnification ring, I mean, I don't know if you can see this or make that out, but I mean, that thing is insane moving around. And it's pretty tight, it's not terrible, but it is just like crazy, it's got a lot of wiggle in it. But the turrets are the best. The turrets are the best on the PST for certain. The turrets are the worst on the SWFA. They're on the verge of being mushy. When you try to do that on the Weaver, wiggle the and I've got actually a little bit of leverage, with this makeshift cattail, and it's got a little wiggle, but it's not bad. It's not near as bad as that PST. The PST, it just seems like the build quality isn't nearly as good, or isn't as good as the Weaver, and not remotely as good as the SWFA. That's where the SWFA really, like, when you look at it, you're like, man, which one of these would I want to take to combat? And there's no question, it'd be the SWFA. Next would be the Weaver, and I wouldn't consider, I'd rather have iron sights than the Vortex, I think. I mean, that's actually bullshit, but I could see the Vortex failing. There's no question about it. And in this instance, this is just from feel. This is nothing backing it up really. It's just when you're messing around with it, you're like, no, like I just don't like it, you know, and everything, and that's basically what it boils down to. I don't like it. The SWFA, you know, there's a lot of Kool-Aid drinkers out there. I think, you know, it's a good scope for what it is. If I was, you know, if they said, hey, you know, we're going to the show or whatever, and I had the opportunity, if I wasn't in a unit or in a position where I didn't get good equipment, and I had the ability to take my own stuff or something along those lines, or if you're doing like a shit hit the fan type of scenario or whatever the case is, I mean, there's no question. I think the SS is top of the food chain as far as these three are concerned. I still, you know, like, because this has got a locking focus on it, and honestly, the difference between a 10 and a 9 power, I mean, we smack with this gun here, the way this is set up, this is an 18-inch SPR. The way it's set up, we can smack you know, 10 by 10s all day at 600 yards with it, you know, with no issues. And so within the capabilities of this cartridge, the way this is set up, 9 power is plenty. You know, this one's actually just one of the first runs, and it's got a traditional mill dot in it, which I don't like, but you know, it's better than a duplex or something like that in my opinion. As far as reticles go, the PST's got the best reticle, no question. That EBR and basically all Vortex reticles, their Miller and Minute reticles are I like them a lot. The illumination, I did look at the illumination on the Vortex. The Vortex is better than the Weaver. The Weaver in this instance has a better reticle than the SWFA, but the mill quad reticle is available in the SWFA. I had it in my 5-20 HD. I didn't like it. I thought it was really not. I mean, this is just me. I didn't really like it, and I think when I don't like something, I get really closed-minded about it, and I tend to just kind of shut it off. Like, yep, I don't like it. Period. Done. You know, I'm spending a lot of money on stuff, and if I don't like it, there's really no change in that. Is it more usable than a standard mill dot? Yeah. But those diamonds, I think they're stupid. You know, there's so many subtensions in that reticle. It's impossible to keep track of without, you know, like a cheat card or something. Whereas like the EDMR reticle, it's like the enhanced mill dot or EMDR, whatever the hell it is. Basically, it's just a slightly enhanced standard mill dot, and it's not bad. But the Vortex has the better reticle. There's no question there. The Vortex has better turrets. The Vortex has better illumination. It's got side focus. These two don't have side focus. It's got zero stop. The color was fantastic. I mean, the color really popped in that scope, and it's got the smallest objective out of everybody. I think if you're gonna put it on a deer rifle or something, it'd probably be okay, because it'd probably be really good when you're considering these, because you got really good illumination, and then it just pops color. So like for deer hunting, you know, in the fall and stuff, fall and winter, when you got a lot of leaves on the ground, and you know, and deer like they're like little chameleons, they like to blend in. I think that it would be wicked good on a hunting rifle. Again, the illumination on the Weaver sucks. You know, and then the SS forgoes the illumination altogether. And it's definitely built the beefiest to me, the way it feels. But, and, you know, it's got a locking eyepiece, which is nice. The turrets, though, the turrets are terrible, you know, compared to these two. Or compare in these three, in contrast to these three, the turrets are terrible. It's got the 42mm objective. It's got a shit ton of adjustment. My son wants me to help him with a video game. they all have plenty of adjustment. I didn't really mess around with the PST, but it seems to have about 16 or 17 mils, which is the same as the SWFA and a little bit more than the actually quite a bit more than the Weaver. But I can't get past this. It just seems like shoddy friggin' build quality to me. It really just seems like shit. You know, where they, you know, because it's a feature pack scope. I guess, you know, to pack those features in, you gotta cut corners somewhere. But the last place I would want the corner cut is friggin' build quality, and that's, I mean, that could be, it's unsupported. It could be fine. It may not have any bearing on it at all. But it's one of those things where it's like, man, I just don't like the feel of it. I mean, the color is fantastic though, and it's really it's a shame. I wish the SWFA had better turrets, and if you could get the SWFA built like this in a 2-10, fast focus, better, you know, like just more responsive turrets, you know, with side focus and illumination. That'd be one of the best scopes out. I mean, you're getting in, you know, like you would. I think you would start competing with Night Force at that point. You know, on this type, not going to that stupid. You know, like they stuck with the classic, the way it was built on that 3-15, and I just thought that was silly. Why not go with this? This is, you know, this is obviously what people want. When they put that 3-15, you know, they could have been competing with the F1, maybe not competing, but it may have been giving people that are willing to spend, you know, $2,000 on an F1, you know, even jumping that 3-15 up into the $1,000 range, putting it on this system as opposed to that classic line, and giving it a little bit better glass, and, you know, so on and so forth, and you really could have had a hell of a competition for not much more money. I think that as it sits, it's like that 315 is like $700. You know, jump it up. You know, spend that extra money. You know, chuck another $300 or $400 at it, and you know, to me, I think you really could compete. You get if somebody's like, yeah, I'm gonna buy an F1. And then that's there, they'll be like, well, you know, I mean, unless they really got a hard on for Night Force. But yeah, so that's these scopes. I haven't messed with the Strike Eagle yet. Actually, one of my buddies wants to buy that from me. I was really actually hoping to replace this SWFA with the PST, but I'm not going to. It's just not going to happen. I might replace it with something else, but I'm not going to replace it with that PST, because I do think that for what this gun gets put through and everything, I just don't think that PST would hold up. And I'm definitely not going to swap. I think the Weaver is still a better scope, so that's really what it boils down to is this is the Weaver, or I'm sorry, is the PST worth $300 over the Weaver? I would say definitely not. That's just my opinion. But if you've got $800 to spend on a scope, and you're looking at this kind of lineup, the 2-10 or 3-10 or whatever, excuse me, not that the PST is a bad scope, but I think the Weaver is a better scope for less money. And it's really difficult to come by in this industry, but I think it's fair. You're not going to get the warranty, and you're not going to get the customer service with the Weaver that you will with the Vortex, and you got to take that into consideration. If you beat the shit out of stuff, and it's pretty much guaranteed to fail, if you drop it and you're a klutz, and you know, or you're an asshole, and you just like to beat stuff up to see how much punishment it'll take, and then, you know, exploit that awesome customer service and awesome warranty from place, you know, companies like Vortex or whoever. I don't even know anybody else that would support that, but Vortex will. And if you're an asshole and do stuff like that, And yeah, you only got one option. That's Vortex. But I mean, I don't recommend it because it's that's what drives prices up and stuff like that. People looking for handouts. But again, if you treat your stuff with respect, so if you treat yourself with respect and you're as careful as possible with it. I mean, accidents do happen. Um, then I would just go with the Weaver if I was looking in this lineup. The illumination's there. It's just not very good, and it's definitely not as good as the Vortex. But this is as unbiased as I can do, and I like Vortex stuff. And I was hoping that this would be really good, but I'm sad to say I just don't think it is. Again, if it was a combat type optic, I mean, we ran M3s, loophole M3s forever in the Army, and then went to the the 3.5 to 10 with M1 turrets, quarter-minute turrets, and those failed all the time. They weren't junk, but I mean, you chuck some friggin' PFC or specialists on them, and they'll break anything. They can break one of these. I mean, there's no not breaking it. It's not a matter of if it'll fail; it's when it's going to fail, and how much abuse can it take. And I think it is, as far as these go, the SWFA is definitely the most rugged. But for this, I mean, kid's version, like it's gonna be his hunting rifle. I think it's pretty good. But that, I mean, I just pulled the DMR off to put that on. And you can feel like in that DMR, which they're being ran in overseas and stuff, and they've been probably one of the top tactical competition scopes going for the last few years. You just feel like you could hammer nails with it. I mean, Bushnell still sucks kind of as a company, but at least that product, and I'm pretty sure, they definitely had a helping hand figuring that out because it's wicked good. But yeah, so that's it for these three. I think that the PST is either going to get sold. It's brand new. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with it. I just don't like it. I don't like it as good as SWFA. I don't like it as good as the Weaver. I think it's definitely got more features than SWFA, but it's not something I'd want to trust. So I don't know. Maybe I'll call Vortex and see what they have to say as far as the magnification ring and that fast focus. The reticle moving around because it wiggles a lot. I mean, a lot. So, but that's it. So we'll leave it at that for now. I got some picked up an AK, so that may be next. All right, thanks.